I mean, just look at this thing. How am I supposed to write a review for a game like this? So I guess this might be a pretty short episode, so let's see what I can do. Ultimate Custom Night is, as its name implies, a custom night that is very ultimate. Sounds like a Danganronpa character. This game was pretty hyped back then from what I can recall. I mean, a custom night featuring 50 animatronics across the entire franchise plus a couple of secret characters to shake things off and add a surprise to the gameplay? Sign me up! If there's one thing that got immense hype about this game, it definitely is 50/20 mode, the single most difficult preset out of the entirety of this franchise. There's a lot of tech in this game. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but it makes sense in my mind. For example, there are like 3 animatronics where you are required to buy their plushies in order to stay alive and not get killed. However, if you just keep the monitor on the camera where they like to chill them, they will never attack you. I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, but it is pretty cool and it also makes life so much easier. Or how about this? At certain intervals, you can flip the camera and never get killed. Toy Freddy, once he loses at his game, he's going to jump scare you. It is inevitable. However, if you flip the monitor at very specific intervals, then he will never ever jump scare you. Which is crazy because there is a mechanic that prevents you from not to use your cameras, and that is reset ventilation. I find it pretty funny and charming that Scott took the time and effort to craft these intermissions. One about the beef between a Japanese bear and fox, and the other being Toy Chica at a high school and also being mentally unsound. And hot. The fact that these animatronics have gotten canon voices is really cool. I think Scott did pretty well with choosing the voice actors for these guys. Some of their dialogue isn't just that we may be playing as William Afton, and that he should regret killing the one who he should have not killed. The challenges are pretty cool presets that offer interesting combinations of animatronics to face, and it's where I spend most of my time while playing this game. It's just the right combination of challenging challenges and also just straight up bullshit. In fact, let's do a ranking of every challenge preset in this game. Since I don't think it's lengthy enough for a video, I don't want to post only 3-minute videos. This list will be ordered from worst to best. Number 16, Old Friends. I was never fond of this one. One, because it's hard as balls. Second, it is actually pretty damn annoying to manage. Chica, Foxy, Puppet, Toy Freddy, and Baby all bring up their own flair of garbage. The optimal strat here is to get rid of Circus Baby by simply stalling her in her respective camera. However, before you do so, you have to farm coins to buy the death coins so you can get rid of Toy Freddy. That's what seemed to work for me. Oh, but you also have to be wary of Foxy as well. Once Circus Baby is gone, because she doesn't stay there the whole night, at that point, you should be good. Number 15, Springtrap. This one is pathetically easy. You don't need to use the cameras other than to reboot the ventilation system and to stall Lefty. Springtrap and JJ can enter through the vents. Springtrap is easy to fend off, but if JJ gets in, then Scraptrap can basically come in at any time and kill you. If you manage to get rid of him, then the night becomes pretty damn easy. The only threats I guess would be Phantom, Freddy, and Nightmarion, and both of them are easy to get rid of. Especially Nightmarion, since you can just sit your cursor in the corner of the screen and he will never ever show up. Number 14, Burst Attack 1, and number 13, Burst Attack 2. The first few presets in the game. They do a good job introducing the player and can be a little bit tricky since any new player seeing the power dream at max speed will definitely cause them to panic. But at the end of the day, they are pretty damn basic. Number 12, Ladies Night 1, and number 11, Ladies Night 2. Same thing as Burst Attack, except we only have lady animatronics here, as well as yes gender animatronics and morally questionable female person here. Ladies Night 1 and 2 are pretty similar if I'm being honest. They are more or less the female counterpart of Burst Attack, with more annoying mechanics like buying plushies, as well as changing the goddamn music. I really don't like how Chica works in this game, to be honest. Number 10, Pay Attention 1. These presets are all about paying attention. No, seriously, if you aren't attentive to your actions, then you will fail. Speaking of which, are you paying attention to this video? Most of the animatronics here are distractions more or less, while the few animatronics that can kill you also have specific rules attached to them, so you can notice them and counter them. I like this one, okay. Number 9, Chaos 3. Listen, I'm all for the challenge, however, this was a smidge too difficult, which affected my enjoyment. And it was with this preset that I noticed something that very clearly affects my enjoyment of the game. I'll talk about it later. As for the night itself, it kind of feels a little bit luck-based. Don't get me wrong, skill is still very much a priority here, but I can't help but wonder if my deaths were due to being very unlucky. I can tell when my deaths are because of my mistakes, and I did do a couple of them here, but overall, this one was more luck-based compared to the other presets, which I guess you can make the same argument for Old Friends as well. After all, you need to be lucky with the coins. Number 8, Creepy Crawlies 1. The last pretty basic preset. This one focuses on animatronics that are in the vents. or animatronics who love crawling. This one was the most interesting to me in my opinion because the vents of the duct tape seem pretty intuitive. At least the vents are. The ducts have some jank in them, but overall it's still good. The vents especially are my favorite since not only you can monitor the crawlers inside of them, you also have to pay attention to a couple of animatronics who can only be stopped by using a vent snare, or you can just simply close the door every time you flip them over just to see them waiting at the door for a time to strike. Number 7, Nightmare's Attack. This preset features everyone from FNAF 4 and a couple of extra ones. We have 2 animatronics with plushies which we can safely ignore by keeping on the irrespective camera. Nightmare being a pain in the ass as usual, Nightmare Freddy and Nightmare BB having great synergy and clapping you in the knob, a couple of FNAF 6 characters and whatnot. I think this one is fine, nothing too special, it isn't overly difficult but easy ain't. Number 6, Ladies Night 3. I really don't have anything to say about this. Get rid of Funtime Foxy and it's smooth sailing. Ladies Night was never really that interesting to me to be honest, this one is fine, nothing wrong with it. Number 5, Chaos 2 and number 4, Chaos 1. The first few presets into the chaos. They're pretty good, as their name suggests, these presets were created to cause chaos, and I think these two execute that concept decently well unlike Chaos 3. Number 3, Bears Attack 3. I honestly like this one. It features everything you have learned and did in the first 2 challenges to form a final challenge against the bears. It was pretty fun in my opinion. Number 2, Pay Attention 2. I love this one. It's designed to screw with you if you are being ignorant. Pay Attention 2 can genuinely be difficult if you don't pay attention, as well as the animatronics that are designed to distract you. Also, you can just get rid of Funtime Foxy, no one cares. The main threats here is Nightmare BB, Puppet, and Music Man. 3 animatronics that have good synergy with the other distractions. Afton only comes in once during the whole night, so not much of a threat unless you're slow to react. And number 1, Creepy Crawlies 2. This is my favorite preset, every crawler at their highest difficulty alongside some distractions to keep you off the cameras. Everything just clicks in this night. So intuitive, so fun, this was thought out amazingly, hats off to Scott. Man, when I started writing this ranking I was at 300 words, now I'm at 1600 words and I still have a lot to say. I guess I'm eating my own words now, I'm a chronic yapper guys. Alright, I think the, mostly positive part of this video is done. Let's go into the negative area. No, I meant the negative feelings. Alright, let's get the elephant out of the room. Fucking Dee Dee! This bitch ass animatronic that has the body of a 6-year-old with a cobra face will come and yap in your ear for like 10 seconds and then just throw in another animatronic in the mix to intentionally fuck you up. And you have no idea who she added until something happens, aka most likely when you get jump scared. Sometimes you have no idea who the animatronic was because they will end up doing nothing, so you will find out when you finish the night. This shit can be pretty devastating the further you are into the night. And guess what? Having only Dee Dee wasn't enough. We also have Xor, a variant of Dee Dee, who only shows up in 50/20 mode to activate every secret character. I honestly am glad Dee Dee is in jail because my life in UCN is so much easier. Yes, there are secret animatronics and you'll have no idea what to do against them. Not unless you have played the games before or are familiar with this franchise. Even then, some of these guys have practically new mechanics. The only ones that function the same is Bonnet, where you boop her nose, Lullaby, where you type LOL to get rid of her, and the Minarinas, who love covering your screen so you could barely see anything, and they stay on your screen for the duration of an in-game hour. Plush Trap has a new mechanic where you have to find the camera he resides and click on him. Breakfast Fash, or Shadow Bunny, blacks out your office to make things harder to see and you can do nothing about it, but I think the most egregious example is Nightmare Chica's mechanic, which is a fully fledged mechanic that is the most unique out of every secret animatronic. Why? No one would have any idea how to fend her off because she's not on the main screen here. Why does she get the privilege of having a mechanic practically making her feel like she's part of the 50 animatronic cast? At that point, why is she a secret character to begin with? Alright, now that we got that out of the way, at one point, I mentioned that I noticed something with this game while doing the challenges and, grinding for a good score. If there's anything that I learned from my time playing this game, then the victories from stuff like 50/20 or really anything genuinely difficult unfortunately come down to luck. This game isn't like, say, Mario Party where luck is its entire identity despite having elements of skill and strategy. In fact, this game doesn't benefit at all from luck. When I saw Doggo and Markiplier beating 50/20 mode, it was gratifying, it was an amazing thing to witness, but sadly, not impressive nor mind-blowing. That's not me trying to slander someone else's achievement. My point is that in a night like 50/20 mode, there are so many variables to consider. But before all that, first and foremost, you have to be extremely lucky. You have to hope that many animatronics don't show up, like Toy Freddy, Chica, Rockstar Bunny, to name a few, hoping that you get enough fast coins, having the wiggle room to deal with fungi, old man consequences, and L chips since they seem to spawn at the same interval. And that's ignoring the fact that Dee Dee can waltz in to spawn another animatronic in, unless you have the power up. By the way, I didn't mention the power-ups so far. They're okay, I guess. Best one is the coin one. I think everyone can agree on this fact, and also the fact that most of this game is purely skill-based. And also, not to say that I wasn't good at multitasking before, but it certainly made me better at it. But like, what the game wants me to do sometimes is fucking unreasonable, really. Not just because of the many things that can show up on your screen, or how many things I have to manage, which there is a metric fuckdown to watch out for. The problem is how immediately you have to react to all of those things that I mentioned. And even the skill-based aspect of this game is quite frankly overwhelming, in my opinion. You need to manage your power, your temperature, the noise, the music box with its songs, all the doors in your office, both open and closed, making sure Bonnie's on your desk instead of Foxy, making sure to not flip the camera before you close the left door in the vents, making sure you view Funtime Foxy's performance, which sucks ass by the way, that's why they get that going, and also it makes it impossible to deal with the plush animatronics, reacting to Afton quickly, not forgetting the reset ventilation because if you don't you won't be able to see anything, period. And the cherry on top, be careful of where you have your cursor so that Nightmare doesn't jump scare you. If you already feel overwhelmed by the multitude of things that I mentioned, then I'm sure you have an idea of how worse it can actually be while playing this game at a higher difficulty. And that's simply just not fun. And if that wasn't bad enough, I just want to mention this for all the grinders and completionists out there since I'm that guy. So there's this cutscene of Golden Freddy tweaking at how good our night guarding and hamburger skills are, and dude, I have to ask this. In what universe is this worth as a completion reward? You have to be put in a mental hospital if you think this shit is worth anything. At least in the custom night of Sister Location, if you beat Golden Freddy, you get a special cutscene. The thing is, we learn something in that cutscene, something important. This is just nothing, like straight up nothing that can satisfy you, nothing you learn or gain. Just time wasted trying to beat the ultimate challenge in this game. I think this is downright insulting if you ask me. As for the voices of these robots, I mean, this is very cool, don't get me wrong. I think my favorite one is Wither Bonnie's voice. It fits him to a T. My issue is, why do many animatronics not have any voice lines? Like, every toy animatronic can speak, except for Toy Bonnie. Why does Mangle have spoken dialogue when Nightmare Mangle doesn't? The Wither animatronics can talk but not the restored FNAF 1 versions. Like, why can Chica speak but Wither Chica can? Why can Afton talk but not Springtrap? Why are there 3 versions of William in this hellhole if indeed we are playing as William Afton? Why don't Nightmare Bonnie and Nightmare Chica have any dialogue when everyone else, bar Nightmare Mangle, do? Actually, why does Afton only say one thing? Why does Molten Freddy only laugh when he did speak full-on sentences before? Why does Lefty suddenly have a voice when he didn't before? I mean, a welcome surprise, but only him? I think you guys got the point already. But again, the most egregious example is Fredbear, the Easter egg character. He has spoken dialogue, but it's so fucking garbled that you can't make shit of it unless you do some heavy editing and tinkering with the audio. Also, I want to give a special shout out to Mr. Hippo, because all that yapping that he does has some meaning. Mainly that using this character, Scott practically spells it out that he had no idea what he was doing for the past 4 years FNAF has been a thing. You know, the guy who designed the series' narrative? Like, the story in this game was such an afterthought in the grand scheme of things. By FNAF 3, you kinda shot yourself in the foot, and by now you can't expect people to not expect any sort of continuity from these games, whether it's well made or straight up bullshit. Finally, the intermissions are cute and all, but why in the mother-loving name of Michael Afton does Scott bother to craft these stories that go nowhere, really? Especially the Japanese Bear and Fox one. That one perplexes me the most. Like, you know, ignoring the fact that this is not Japanese at all because they keep saying I and you in Japanese, among other words having some English stuck to them, for example, potato chips. You can't even follow the storyline properly because the dialogue is cut up and randomized, and also the pacing was way off. I think this features a metaphor to how Scott did not have a point with this story and tricks people who look too deep into this shit. At least that's what I heard on the internet, and it made some sense to me. With these stories, nothing really happens except the same thing. Freddy plans something, but Foxy fucks him up, and instead of killing him, he punishes him. And on the other side of the spectrum, we have a high school teen robot who kills dudes that she tries to have affairs with, and she keeps upping the ante when it comes to killing these guys for some dumbass reason. I didn't expect much, it's just too repetitive, but that's just me. And that's it. Ultimate Custom Night is, as its name implies, the Ultimate Custom Night. This video was not short at all. Maybe I should shut up whenever I want to say dumb bullshit like that. Don't get me wrong, I like this game okay. I think it's fine, but I cannot ignore the fact that this game is deeply flawed depending on who you're asking. I myself outline everything that I didn't like in this game in a reasonable manner. I hope, question mark. If you like this game, then that's fine. And after all that, this game is free on Steam, so it's not like you're losing something. Well, except time. I know, if you watch my videos on Five Nights at Freddy's reviews, then I seem to be not much of a fan of this franchise. Really, the only games that I seem to like is FNAF 1 and 4. FNAF 6, I like the tycoon aspect, and UCN is fine enough. The rest of the games, I did not like at all. Well, the truth is, I grew up watching FNAF gameplay. That's why I was a fan, and still am, among the other cool things the fandom seem to be doing. But guys, please do believe me when I say that not everything is bad. I mean, I really like FNAF 1 and 4, but you know what other game I like? The next game of the franchise, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. So, I'll see you soon with a review of that game. Have a good day in the meantime.